Hello and welcome to another edition of Ephlux Insights. My name is Babrahan. I'm the entrepreneur residence for this program. Today we're joined by, and forgive me for mispronouncing if at all, Birgitta Edberg, the CEO of DFS Stockholm, a marketing strategist and expert in the social media ecosystem. She has written a book which we will talk about today. And Birgitta, if you could, just a brief introduction about yourself, about the work you've done thus far, and how you got into the space.
Yes, thank you for inviting me to be here. I working right now in this Dataforeningen Sweden. We have 15,000 members. I'm CEO, and it's a non-profit organization with a mission to increase knowledge and contacts through networking. So it's a very pleasant work to engage and to support people that are really passionate about their topic. It could be big data, it could be IT architecture, it could be change management, and we have 60 thought leaders in different areas, and they meet each other physically and exchange knowledge in their topics areas. So that is my profession, and I'm also an author. I wrote a book here that came last year about the social ecosystem. The book name is Social affärsutveckling, Nätverksekonomin. And the English translation should be Social Business Development in the Network Economy. And it's based on research I did when on the university. I checked all the traditional marketing and business models, you know, Porter and Kotler, and I checked how they fit into the new social media ecosystem.
Right.
And they don't fit. So I understood that there is an understanding gap in organization. So one person understand the new world, the connected world. When we are equal, we are sharing. And no matter if we are in Pakistan or in Sweden, we are connected. And the old world that was built with physical barriers, and you have these 5 forces, for example, it's built on a world with physical barriers. And you don't need a company or a fabric today to produce value. You can do it, individuals can produce values with each other in the cloud with new tools. You have free e-commerce. Ticktail is a free e-commerce place, and people are creating, so we really create value together, and it's most of the time outside the organizations and the companies, and this book is directed to the companies, that they should understand this new world. The power have changed. The technology drives, you know, a new market logic, and individuals got power, and they don't want to wait for companies that, you know, don't want to interact with them, just delivering products. Then I can choose another one. I can choose it from the whole world, or I fix my problem by myself, or use you. We can together solve problems and needs. So in my book, I present the new model. Then it's based on lean consumption. It's about, you shouldn't be in the 19th, as in the 20th century. All the theories, the academic theories in marketing, it was you should position yourself in a value chain, and you should be effective in the value chain. But today, when this value chain idea is based on Taylor, it's like, you know, you are manufacturing products, and then they come out from the line, assembly line, and then someone there, I don't know their face, they take this product and I don't have to speak with them. I just deliver the product. But today is different. We don't want to wait. We don't have time. We want to have value right just in time. And then it's valuable. And in this day, the technology, social, mobile, and cloud, it really makes the expectations from the individual different. And the challenge for companies is really to fit into this expectation, to match, to fit this market logic. And the first thing you have to do is to understand the logic. So my book was a little, I wanted this to increase knowledge for the new market logic. Yeah, and I wanted it to be on the university economic. When you are studying to be an economist, and so I want to have it like a course literature for the university studies.
All right.
Yeah.
And could you well, then in that case, congrats on being published, if that didn't come up earlier, but could you tell us more about what you call the social media ecosystem in?
Yeah. At first, the social media ecosystem, it's about cloud and mobility. I mean, you have the digitalization development had made an infrastructure in the cloud. So before you didn't have any structure to do anything with someone else in the cloud, but today you can do nearly everything in the cloud. So the ecosystem, it's more like an infrastructure. It's like when you build the railways in the start of the industrialism. Then after, when they built these railways, they could understand, okay, we can build the trains, and we can put things on the trains, and we can meet on the trains, and So now it's our fantasy how we use this digital ecosystem and create value and a smarter planet. So really, it's about the tech drive the behavior and the expectations, and there are some that understand this new logic, and they use this new social media ecosystem, and others they are lost in the old thinking, and they can't really see the value of this ecosystem. So one of my 8P, instead of Kotler's 4P or 5P, I have 8 Ps, and one of the Ps is platform, and another is people. So today you need to have a meeting platform for value creation, where you are equal. You're not a passive consumer that are waiting behind the assembly line. You are in the creation, in the platform. So Amazon and Facebook and those kinds of platforms, they are places where you co-create with the people that are using it, and you build value networks instead of value change. And it's many researchers that are really pointing on this, and in my book I do the puzzle. I puzzled in all those research together, and then I made this new market model. And the market model is about co-creation in the ecosystem. And it's the ecosystem, make it very easy to find other people with the same interest. You found me because of the ecosystem, but we are on the different places on the planet, but we find each other because we are interested in the same topic. So it's very easy to do things. It's a lot of possibilities, but it's also a lot of changes. And the biggest changes, there is a marketing professor called Richard Norman. He said, you always, when the world is changing, the biggest challenges is two. It's the adoption of new business idea, the consumer and the company and consumers roles, how you should interact, and it's the organization. How can you adapt your organization to the new world? Because today it's silos. It's like silos in the organization. But every individual in this organization and outside the organization, they have mobility. They are connected. They can speak whatever they like. They are not in this physical building any longer. They are out in the world connecting, doing things. So it's a lot. Those two changes. You have to change your idea. It's like those marketing and business models, and you have to adapt your organization to work, to use the technology with a social hub like Chatter, for example. Everyone works together just in time, in real time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a concept that's frequently touted in marketing circles: the customer is always right. But in terms of this adoption to how the customer has changed the way that they go about their daily lives, not just how they purchase, but how they go about their daily lives, the brands and the companies have not yet adopted that particular belief system or that particular process. They're still stuck to their 4Ps, their fixed models of brick and mortar, when there is a possibility of, for example, selling to the customer on the spot. There's even this, for example, I'm referencing something you just said, and it's mentioned in the book as well, the idea that technology has impacted the consumer behavior, including the decision journey. So on that note, could you talk a bit about how the decision journey has changed in the social media ecosystem, and how can brands optimize on that change?
Yeah, you have a lot of old models, marketing models that was, you should stimulate and stimulus model in Sweden. You should, with a banner or ad, you should get a brand promise to the consumer. And then when they see, this nice brand, they go out and shop. It was the process before, but today the process starts with to Google. I mean, if I want to buy a new car, the company have two big things. Every company, they have to create value, and they have to find markets to pay for the value. So you have a value, and you have someone has to pay for the value. And today, people that want to solve their problem, they Google to solve their problems. So when they Google and said, okay, I have this problem with, I don't think, I'm not safe in my home. So perhaps they should buy a product, an alarm, for example, or they are connected to other people and they say, but you can do this, you can do that, they have many options. And if their friends in their ecosystem says, well, I bought this alarm, it was very good, and then the other says, well, we bought this alarm, it was like this. Then people could talk with each other. They couldn't talk with each other before. So today, banners have no effect. So the traditional marketing models, that you should have, you should spend a lot of millions in a campaign. It's not given that desired effect. Today, 90% Google. They Google, I want to feel safe, I want an alarm, or I want to buy that or that. And their friends, they are telling you the solution for your problem. So you don't have to go to one firm, or perhaps you solve the problems without a product. So the logic is different. So that have changed. Yeah. It was a long answer. Your question, what was more than that? It was about what have changed in the
Yeah. What
market.
has changed in the social media ecosystem, and
Yeah.
how does the brand adapt to that?
Yeah. What should you do as a market, say, as a CMO, responsible for marketing? Well, at first it starts with your philosophy. You could give an easy answer. You could say, well, you should use this content marketing. And there is a lot of discussion about content marketing today, because some market officers they say, well, I did this very creative campaign on YouTube, and it's content marketing. But content marketing or inbound marketing, it's more a kind of philosophy that starts with that you don't want to push when people are not ready. When people have a need, they should find you on internet, and they should find you because you give out valuable solutions or content. So it starts with a kind of philosophy that you get. Your brand will be founded when people look for you. That is the logic. And how do you get found on internet, on Google, through your friends? How do you get founded? Then there are a lot of trick or content marketing that you could, exchange your white paper, and they give you their personal data, their address, and so the philosophy builds on that is an exchange. It's a relation, and in a relation you can't push, because if your girlfriend push you get like this. I don't want. So the new service logic in the research, it's built on that it's not enough that the organization is customer centric. That we give the customer everything that the customer likes. It's more kind of you invite your customers to develop your services so it suits them better. So you invite the customer into your value chain in the research and development apartment, and in the marketing apartment. You should have your ambassadors as close as in a family relation, if you could. So it's more kind of, it starts with the relation strategy, and then comes the content marketing. But the content marketing it's a permission marketing. When people want, if you are interested in this, I can give you more of that, and I know your name, and welcome back when you are ready. So this emotion, it's about experience, it's about develop good experiences. And how do you in a relation increase experiences? You listen very carefully. If you say to me, I don't like your haircut, well, perhaps I change it because of you, because it's a relation. So it's an interaction. So if I see as a marketer, there are research that says one of three companies, they interact with the customer in social media. They answer the tweets, and they answer on Facebook and so. Why don't they interact with the people that are mentioning them? They say we have no resources. Yeah, so they're spending a lot of millions on ads and marketing, but they have no resources to speak with the customers and to be more valuable to the customers, because it's a relation on equal terms. So it's really kind of thinking in new ways, because I have been sitting as a marketing director, and I had my millions, and it's very funny to do crazy campaigns, and and if you are a CMO, you're educated in those models. You make, you use all those events and ads and e-market, all those old way of market. You don't know that much about, customer service. It's another apartment. So I think it's a challenge to be a marketing director to let that power go, because it's a kind of it's quite fun to just make crazy campaigns. But I really think you should connect in the company and have one. You really to have the same view of the market and the view of the company, and then you comes to the business model. You really have to recap your business model and marketing model.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it's 100%. I mean, on our side of the world, people are quite reluctant to try new things, and they're quite reluctant to experiment. In general, even in their ATL marketing, they're quite reluctant to experiment. But when they do get on digital, they usually focus on a two-way communication channel, and they usually focus on customer service to further relate to or cater to the existing customers, and also just to create awareness for the brand for the people who have not adopted yet. But I believe be more of the case in developed markets, or in even developing markets, emerging markets as well, that maybe the brand and the CMO and the marketing manager, they need to see examples of how these ideas and these technology and these frameworks have worked in similar industries or related industries or complementary industries, and perhaps they will endorse the idea more if it's worked for a competitor, if it's worked for a similar business in a different country. So could you tell share some examples with us about brands that have done this in your space, based on even the research that you've done that created the book, and how those brands have benefited, what kind of process they went through, and how that particular CMO or how the ideator convinced the board of going ahead with that plan. So could you tell us a bit about that?
It's really about it starts with the philosophy, also the business model. It starts there, and I have example in my book, for example, this lean startup business model, Steve Blank's, Eric Ries lean startup, and it's about you don't know the perfect product in your business. You have a hypothesis. You think that this product will fit into a market, but that lean startup is about you make it 8% ready, and then you interact, and then you change, and then you adapt, and all those Amazon and all those big companies, they have adjusted their early business idea. The YouTube was a dating site at first. And they changed it from the dating site to what it is today. And Amazon had also another idea in the early stages. There are plenty of examples of that they have changed their interacts, and then they adjust their business model. And in old companies, it's much harder, because the old idea is really in every people's head. I can give you example, one of best practice. Spotify have in 5 years, they have been worldwide. And I listened to the one person that had a seminar about big data and how to navigate in this world. And he said, when we started, we wanted to sell music, but we didn't know the perfect product. So he said that today we handle 1 petabyte data. And what did we look for in that data? We said, if we don't know the perfect product, then we should be best in the world to learn. So we look at feedback from at the product and user feedback. So they have, from the start, they said, okay, we don't have the answer of the perfect product, but we should be interact, and same as Amazon. When they see that someone doesn't like that, they change. And if someone gets feedback there, they change. They change together with the consumer, the people that are consumed. So they are very tight. There is a platform that they adjust. And today they are, they have a leading position in distributing music. So I really think that you have to have this, they call it in the research, co-creation business idea. It's really a business idea. And it's in lean startup, they use really that business idea. And I think new companies, they can really be dynamic in that thought. They all know what they must do. They must adjust, and they must see signals that this doesn't fit well. But I think it's much harder for old companies to do that. It's a way. It's you have to adjust your thinking. It's very, very hard. It's a transformation process.
Definitely. A lot of businesses that I've worked with, I've struggled quite a bit to convince them to come on social, but even when they do, it's quite a slow process, and the adaptation across the entire value chain takes a while. So you only have the marketing person doing his job, but they completely alienate the customer service team, who have a better understanding of the customer's concerns and needs than a marketing person does, who just looks at the top line, as opposed to someone who's below the chain. Moving on, there's a lot of talk on social media and other platforms about what consumer brands can do in this space, and it does make a lot of sense, because you look at, as you mentioned, the railway analogy. Until people have smartphones in your hands, there's no point pitching the idea of having apps for them. Until the person has a smartphone, what's the point? You want the adoption of the technology first. As a result of that, you will have additions onto the technology in terms of maybe a better touch point or location based marketing or services. But what I want to know about is, now we moved on from the consumer side, I want to know about how based on your experience, how does a corporation brand itself in this new normal, as Professor Sasha Strauss references, and as you reference in your book about Enterprise 2.0, and how does a brand in this day and age, and I'm going to give you a company as an example. So how does an agency partner, how does a consulting firm promote itself in the era of social media and Enterprise 2.0?
A consultant. Did you say how a consultant should do?
A consultant or a consulting firm, someone who deals with, there's like the brands that you're mentioning, they're consumer facing, but then there's businesses that are corporation facing. So how does a corporation sell to another corporation in this day and age with these tools and with these technologies in place, and even the knowledge gained from your book, how do they apply it to promote them?
If you come from outside, you mean, as a consultant? I think it started to the board should really have this business idea, this adapted business idea. It starts there, because if you start it really to be a success, I think it really had to be a transformation journey. As a consultant, you have really to show, really have to show that their knowledge is not updated, and you have to show how many companies had died and will die. For example, Michael Porter's company had a consultant company, and he made this value chain and 5 forces, and he was really a guru. But his own consult company died for 1 year ago. And why didn't his strategy save himself, you can ask? He had learned the whole world what the strategy is. And he should do this analyze, and you should see what the other people do. How couldn't he save himself? And really, as a consultant, if you meet a company that really are not updated, you have to show them examples that those people, companies, there's a lot of companies you can show best practice on. There is an index called Social Business Index, and the people, the companies that, if you Google it, you see the companies that are highest in this Social Business Index. They have understand the new world, and they are profitable. But if you're not there, you will not be in 5 or 10 years. You will not be on the market.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, there's CMOs out there that have this in their minds, but then pitching it to the CEO, or pitching it to the shareholders, or the chairman of the board, and etc. Anyone who's above them, it is quite a mindset change. And what you're mentioning is an approach where you would go to them and say, if you don't, you could lose out. But is there an approach where you could convince them? So there's two parts to this question. I'd like you to sort of, we're short on time, so and you have another meeting after this, so I'd like you to sort of conclude by telling us, how does the CMO, regardless if he's a business to consumer CMO or business to business CMO, how do they convince their boards to allow them to move towards this new direction, regardless of what part of the world they're in? There must be a smart, educated approach to going about convincing the people who be in charge about going about this. That's the first part of the question. The second part of the question is, aside from that, regardless if the person has a digital mindset or not, social media mindset or not, what advice do you have to the CMOs in 2014, what they need to do, what they need to invest in, and how they can keep themselves competitive?
Well, the first question was, how could you, what argument should you have in the board? And then I think it's start with the cost. They should look for all those studies, what outbound marketing and inbound marketing cost. And HubSpot, for example, they had studies. It cost, I think, 63% less with inbound marketing than outbound marketing. That is money that you could save because you want an effect. And if you push out marketing that costs a lot, it costs your company money. So if you can save money, it's the best first step. So they should really have, a budget for how much less it costs with inbound marketing. That is one thing. And then there is also studies connected to that. There is a massive studies at the University of California that I also have in my book. They did a massive scale experiment on Facebook, 210. It was this James Fowler, he was the leading this research. And they sent out Facebook messages to 60 million Americans that they should go and vote in the American Congress location. And they had an A and a B message. The A message on Facebook was, today is the you should vote. You can pick, say that you voted if you point this, button. And then and the B message was the message, and it was your friends that had gone to vote. And that the result of this big, massive research with 60 million Americans, it was that this A message didn't made anyone to go to and vote, but this B message, 60,000 Americans went to vote because of their friends have done that. So that is ROR, return of relations, instead of ROI, return of investment. So ROR. And then this 60,000 Americans, they made that their friends also went to vote, and it was 280,000. So it was RON, return of networks. So today you can really measure how much this ecosystem, which impact relation have on each other.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is, they should take research and show that to the board. That is the first question. And the second question was trends for this year, or tip. Yeah. Yeah, you have to understand this new market logic, and we have so many great thought leaders in this area. So you can't just go to Twitter and look for inbound marketing or social business or cost serve or enterprise 2.0. It is an old term now, but and Dreamforce is a good place to be, and there's a lot of conferences and people are sharing. Start to learn more about how people connect and what make other people. How can you really, in a relation, what is valuable in a relation? So start to learn more about how to handle relation. It's not enough only to handle effectivity in the value chain. Now you have to really learn about people and how brain works and how human touch and to take away pain from people, to make them feel that this is not just a great product, it's great people and it's a great platform, and we love your brand because you're really you are a good company. So it's really about what you stand for. You want to make a better world. You don't only make products.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This last person we interviewed was Professor Strauss, the managing director of Innovation Protocol, and he follows the same ideology. He applies that in he mentions that a lot of the conferences that he speaks at, that you need to look at the world as human to human marketing before you look at business to consumer or business to business. It's, if you can understand the human side of the decision making process, you can make a huge impact, as opposed to looking at the utility aspect first. So the decision making process involves variable factors. You need to tap into those variable factors, as opposed to just tapping into the idea that your service, your product or service is fulfilling a need. It's not just the need, it's also what goes on beyond that. And we interviewed a fellow named Robin Bond. He's the business development director of a agency in the UK called Seven. They are specialists in content marketing, and he mentioned something very interesting, that content marketing changes actually with the buying decision journey. So when you go from awareness all the way down to alternatives, all the way down to when the person has purchased and whether they liked the product or disliked the product, your content marketing changes throughout. So they'll have a digital banner, they'll have a billboard with a digital banner on it, and that banner will change according to the time of the day. And it's happened quite a few times where he was mentioning some campaign they did for a coffee brand in the UK, where in the beginning of the day that particular banner would talk about things like, you need to wake up, and then the banner would talk about things like, don't have coffee at this point in time, have rest. So when a coffee company that is supposed to make money off you by selling coffee tells you to rest, you actually do listen to them. You're like, okay, they're not trying to sell me anything, they actually care about me, so I might as well do this. And then towards the end of the day, they mention things like, oh, working late. So working late, you might need a pep up. So have some coffee, have an espresso shot. Don't have the one that costs maybe, don't have the 4-pound coffee, but have the 1.5 pound. And then the person questions again. They think to themselves, all the other brands are trying to get out as much money from me as possible, but this one brand, instead of insisting I spend £1, only asking for £1.50. So I might as well go to it because it clearly cares more about me than it cares about its bottom line. But what happens is, at the end, a lot of people are thinking that, and then a lot of people show up at the outlet, and a lot of people place the order. So you actually make up that cost where that £4 was lost and the 1.5 was gained. And that's actually the approach that I'm seeing quite a bit from professionals like yourself. We talk about this new era where, since we're connected, might as well take advantage of the idea that we are all human beings at the end of the day. It's no longer one-way communication, it's two-way. And I thank you, ma'am, for taking out the time to talk to us about this topic. And I realize that you're very busy, so I really appreciate the hour, or I believe that 45 minutes that you've been able to give us. A really valuable insight, and especially the aspect about adopting to tech that I believe a lot of people have missed out on, that you need to wait for your consumers to adopt to the tech, or what kind of touch points that they adopt to before you move on to you're going to reach them via those touch points. So very valuable insights. Thank you very much for joining us. Hope to have you again on the program again about a month. I'll get back in touch with you. And also, since you're a networker, I do something along the same lines as well. So I believe I'm going to connect you to a couple of people that believe in the same things that you do, and you guys can collaborate across the globe. Obviously, there's nothing wrong with that. And if there's any area that I find that you have a lacking or something that you want to aspire towards, I'll just definitely connect you to our network of people that we've interviewed via Ephlux Insights. And well, that's about it. And again, so just to thank you very much, and I really appreciate the time you've taken out. We'll talk again soon.
Yeah,
All right,
thank you
bye.
very much. A pleasure to be here. Thanks. Bye.